Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. The story in this episode is a long fable inspired by the classic fable, The Ant and the Grasshopper. But it introduces more twists by adding two more characters, the squirrel and the mongoose. With more characters and their interactions, more perspectives can be explored. After you have listened to the story, don't miss the detailed explanation following it. Now, let's get started.
Once upon a time, in a large and vibrant forest, there lived four good friends who had known each other for years: Antony the ant, Scurry the squirrel, Cricket the grasshopper, and Mungo the mongoose. Antony and Scurry were both hard-working, their days filled with the labor of preparation. Antony, with remarkable strength, would carry grain after grain to his ant hill. He often said, "The future can be tough, we must be ready." Yet, when he encountered troubles, he would say, "Así es la vida," meaning that's life or that's how things happen, and then continue his work with enthusiasm. Antony was also happy to share the fruits of his labor with others. While both Antony and Scurry were hardworking, Scurry did not enjoy his work very much. He used most of his time to gather acorns for the winter, a task which he considered to be a huge burden. His heart also grew heavy and tired with the thought of the endless cycle of seasons. He often grumbled, "When will this boring work ever end?" These thoughts stole the joy of the present from him. When he felt pessimistic, he would say "Huakaika" to encourage himself. Unlike Antony, Scurry was less generous and seldom shared his belongings with others. On the other hand, both Mungo and Cricket embraced a carefree attitude which enabled them to appreciate the sweetness of existence. Mungo liked to sing and dance everywhere from trees to the ground and then lounge upon the branches. He often said, "Hakuna Matata," samba together. Cricket's life was also a symphony of delight, with his dances and songs echoing the sun's caress. Cricket would often doubt their hard-working friend's attitude, asking, "Why worry about tomorrow when today is so full of beauty? Don't worry, be happy." Although both Mungo and Cricket embraced the spirit of Hakuna Matata, they had quite different backgrounds. Mungo hailed from a wealthy family; his leisurely life was supported by the abundance they provided. Cricket, however, was just a small potato from a humble family. His carefree attitude was supported not by wealth, but more by optimism. Before the winter arrived, everything seemed fine. Unfortunately, the terrible fate was ready to start its assaults. One morning, Scurry woke up early and started collecting nuts. The wolf named Wolvie appeared from the shadows, its gaze fixed upon the squirrel. Wolvie approached him and asked gently, "Hello, little one, why do you toil so? Life is short, should you not enjoy it instead?" Scurry, pausing in his labor, replied with a sigh, "Perhaps you are right. Every day, I seem to work for a happy future that will never come." Wolvie said, "Sure, even your tomorrow will not come." With those words still hanging in the air, Wolvie pounced, and Scurry's life, devoid of joy, was cut short. Scurry's sudden passing was a shock, even to an optimist like Mungo. He could not sing and dance as happily as before. But that was not the worst thing. While Mungo had not met a violent fate like Scurry's, his fate was even more unpredictable. One afternoon, Mungo and Cricket sang in the forest as usual. Mungo sang his favorite song, "Whatever Will Be Happy," but this time with a perceptible sorrowful feel. "When I was just a little boy, I asked my father, 'What will I be? Will I be old? Will I be broke?' Here's what he said to me. Que sera feliz? Whatever will be happy. The future's not our concern, so just be happy. Que sera feliz? Hakuna Matata. The future's not our concern, so just see feliz. Don't worry, my son." Before Mungo could finish singing it, his guitar fell to the ground. He looked in pain. Cricket saw this and asked, "Mungo, what is the matter?" Mungo clasped his hand over his chest and replied, "I feel pain within." Then he collapsed and fainted on the ground. Cricket immediately called for help. After several days, Mungo couldn't overcome the illness and passed away peacefully in his sleep. Antony concluded, although this is sad, Mungo's whole life was filled with laughter and joy. After Mungo's death, instead of hearing his songs and laughter, his friends heard only the silence left in the air. Anthony, within his well-stocked anthill, felt the pain of losing two best friends in less than 1 month. He could not comprehend what had happened. He thought, Scurry worked so hard to build his desirable future, why did he die before seeing it? Mungo was always healthy and active, why did he suddenly fall ill and die? Nevertheless, he tried to apply the ACIS la vida attitude to lessen the pain. After more thought, the tragic event somehow deepened his understanding of life. He knew that while hard work was essential, so was the acceptance of life's twists. He reflected, we build and strive day and night, yet life whispers by. While preparing for the future is important, we should also take time to enjoy the present. And then, the foot of winter finally stepped into the forest. This winter was especially harsh, more severe than what had been seen in years. Gricket, who had spent his days in leisure, found himself ill-prepared for the biting cold and scarcity of food. His thin stock, which might have been enough in milder winters, could not support him through this particularly brutal season. His belly rumbled with hunger, and the cold bit through his thin shelter. He realized too late that his lack of preparation had consequences. You may wonder, what about the food and shelter left by Scurry the squirrel? Could these help Gricket just in time? Well, Scurry's wealth was inherited by his family. Despite being one of Scurry's best friends, Gricket could not get anything. Gricket sighed, if not for troubled times like this, what are friends for? It seems I will be the next one to leave this world. In his desperation, he visited Anthony. When Anthony opened the door, he saw that Gricket was shivering. Gricket pleaded, Anthony, I reveled under the sun for so long, but now I am lost to winter's bite. If you don't mind, could I get some help? Anthony had a generous heart, he said, Gricket, what are friends for? I am glad you came here. And so, they shared food and shelter together during the harsh winter. In this period, Anthony taught Gricket the virtue of huikaika, while Gricket reminded Anthony of the spirit of Hakuna Matata. When spring's gentle caress revived the slumbering forest, Gricket had changed. His spirit had become a harmonious blend of joy and prudence. He told Anthony, I have learned much in the past year. In memory of our dear friends, I shall live with a full heart and a mindful eye, embracing Hakuna Matata, huikaika, and ACIS la vida as my guides. Anthony replied, agree. I have learned a lot in this year as well. We have to savor the present, prepare for the future, accept the twists of fate, and also hold dear the memories of those who have touched our lives.
That brings us to the end of this story. Now we will explain the theme and the production process. This story, For Friends in 1 Year, is inspired by the classic fable, The Ant and the Grasshopper. However, we consider the original story too simple by today's standards. The possible situations are indeed more complex, so some comparisons and contrasts should be made. This story aims to seamlessly combine different life attitudes in one narrative. It presents different characters' choices and their consequences, allowing readers to draw their own conclusions. It's not about strongly condemning or endorsing certain behaviors, but rather exploring different life strategies and their possible results, and then advocating for a balanced approach to life. In essence, the story encourages readers to consider a harmonious balance between planning for the future and enjoying the present, while also appreciating the that's life attitude to face life's ups and downs. Of course, readers can feel free to consider whether this approach is appropriate or not. Theoretically, if we consider each character's survival as an independent event, we could indeed have anywhere from 0 to all 4 characters surviving. This range of outcomes could lead to different developments of subsequent events, which in turn could result in different interpretations. For instance, if Mungo were the only survivor, his wealth should shield him from the harsh winter. However, he might not be able to maintain his carefree attitude anymore after witnessing the harsh realities of life. Inspirations and choice of characters. While the original fable has only the ant and the grasshopper, this story introduces more twists by featuring 4 friends, each representing similar or different approaches to life. Adding the squirrel is inspired by a fable, The Squirrel and the Grasshopper. This fable is not well known and may be a modern adaptation. In this fable, the squirrel is portrayed as hardworking, similar to the ant. To create two pairs, another carefree character is needed. Initially, we considered a lemur. Then, inspired by the Lion King movie, we considered meerkat, as it is more or less a stereotype of carefree attitude. Eventually, we used mongoose, as it is close to meerkat but not restricted to African regions. The story also draws inspirations from the song Que Sera, Sarah, which represents another life attitude. Sadly, the sudden death of Mungo is inspired by the frequent sudden deaths of people in recent years across different countries. Some people think this phenomenon may be related to COVID-19 and vaccine. The wolf character named Wolvie is the same one in our Little Red Cap prequel series. So there is a crossover here. Life perspectives in non-English languages. The terms Hakuna Matata, Hukaika, and Así es la vida are used in the story to represent different life perspectives. They are all in non-English languages. Hakuna Matata is a Swahili phrase meaning no worries. It represents a carefree approach to life. Hukaika is a Hawaiian term meaning make more effort or work hard. This represents an industrious attitude and also strength and perseverance. Así es la vida is a Spanish phrase meaning that's life or that's how things happen. It represents acceptance of life's ups and downs. It has a similar philosophy with let it be, which means accepting life as it is. The song in the story contains the Spanish phrases Que sera feliz and Si feliz. They can be translated to what will be happy and be happy, respectively. The song is inspired by Doris Day's Que sera, Sarah, which is derived from the Spanish phrase Lo que sera, Sarah, meaning whatever will be, will be. Que sera, Sarah represents a cheerful fatalism or a relaxed attitude towards the future. Choice of phrases. The story thoughtfully incorporates Hakuna Matata, a phrase that adds an interesting element to the narrative. However, to balance this carefree philosophy, a term that signifies hard work and sounds similar to Hakuna Matata was needed. Initially, Hana Ikaika was considered. However, based on further research, Hukaika was chosen over Hana Ikaika as it more accurately means hard work or make more effort. As the drafts evolved, it became apparent that another phrase to represent that's life would enhance the story. Initially, C'est la vie was considered. Eventually, Así es la vida was chosen as it is more phonetically harmonized with the other two phrases, Hakuna Matata and Hukaika, creating a cohesive feel in the story. That brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed this story and the explanations, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. A text version is available for reading on our Patreon. Additionally, the site provides links where you can view or download English versions of Grimm's fairy tales and Aesop's fables for free. Your support enables us to create more content like this. Thank you for watching. See you next time.